Which is?
It's the science of controlling populations and controlling information and becoming the map makers of the mind. They lay out through the culture, through their different media arms, the system and the direction they want to go. So basically, the BilderBerg Group meeting is like a massive mafia commission meeting. They're already running their different enterprises. They're now meeting once a year to make major decisions or to tweak or change their overall program.
So it's basically like The Godfather.
Yes.
The big scene in The Godfather, yes, where all the leaders of the families were brought together. There was a problem, and they solved it that day if we go to the movies.
That's right. Exactly. They operate by covert means, and the policy is a planetary government to carry out the extermination, the murder of at least 80% of the world's population. And they're on record saying they're doing. They're so arrogant, they think the public's too stupid to find out what they're doing. They want you dead, Governor.
Why?
It is the elite trying to get a hedge on the future. Total control freaks wanting to control mankind's destiny and only let their blood and their elite families go forward into the future with the life extension technologies.
Jones is only the latest authority to say the elitists want to get the population down to a so-called manageable level. He's the first to give a hint of how they might do it.
That's the debate happening right now while we sit here talking. Are they going to go with soft kill in the water, or do they go ahead and go with the hardcore mega death, mega kill, and kill 4.5 billion people at least?
This is way more urgent than I even thought. I talked to Alex Jones, and he told me one of the main objectives of the Bilderbergs, get this, depopulation of the world, cutting down the masses.
And how does he say they're going to do it?
I got information that they're actually poisoning the world's food supply.
Yeah, and what about medicine?
You think they're poisoning the medicine, too?
If they are as powerful as we've been led to believe, then they'd have access to the medicine. They'd be able to do it.
You're saying a lot more. They're not just a secret society. They'd be mass murderers.
Look, if you go back through recent history, it's full of famines and disasters and plagues and all kinds of things that suddenly just pop out of nowhere.
Basically, people, Alex Jones looked me right in the eye and said they're out to kill me. I want to know how they plan on doing it.
Coming up, Jesse's team gets closer to the global murder weapon.
The idea is to target the human immune system.
Also, the bizarre monument on which the Bilderberg's depopulation goal is etched in plain sight.
It's called the American Stonehenge or the Georgia Guidestones. That's where it says 500 million.
And later, Jesse Ventura learns he may be too late to stop their doomsday plan.
Doctor, the response is going to be, you're crazy. How can you say this stuff?
Jesse Ventura's investigation into the BilderBerg Group has taken an unexpected, unsettling turn. The group of the elite, powerful, and influential is said to control the world. Now it's accused of planning to kill off much of the world's 6.7 billion inhabitants to make it easier to manage.
They want you dead, Governor.
The conspiracy team knows the why. Now, the question is how. June Sarpong follows a lead to New Mexico. She catches up with David Icke. The writer and lecturer has spent decades researching who really runs the world. He has no doubt that a global death plot is in the works.
This has been in the agenda for a long time. They control the media, they control the politics, they control the pharmaceutical cartel and the other corporations. They control the political parties that can run the governments. There's one thing they don't have: numbers. Global population is now 7 billion. They want to dramatically reduce the population so that, for their point of view, they have a population number they can handle, because they can't handle this one. And this is why it's so important for people to understand this.
David Icke gets down to specifics, how the murders will take place.
The idea is to target the human immune system. There is a war on the human immune system through food additives and additives to drink. All of them are chemically targeting the human immune system.
The secret is out. June rushes to get the information to her boss.
Hi, Governor. It's me. I'm leaving Albuquerque. They're telling me it's the food.
It's in the food?
Where do you want me to go next?
Within the hour, June is told to head to Santa Cruz, California. Dr. Stanley Monteith is waiting. He's an authority on the world's food supply, where it comes from, and what's added to it. Dr. Monteith is well aware of the BilderBerg Group.
Dr. Monteith.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Now, I've just been talking to David Icke, and he says there's a lot of concern about our food supply.
It was a very good reason. I would be glad to talk to you about it.
Thank
Come
you.
right on in.
So, Dr. Monteith, what makes you so certain that our food supply is being poisoned?
Well, because of the things that they're putting in the food supply that are poisonous. Aspartame is a poison. The officials of the Federal Drug Administration tried to keep the product out of our food supply because extensive studies that showed what it could do.
What exactly is aspartame?
Aspartame is a chemical. It's made up of aspartic acid and phenylalanine, and it breaks down into formaldehyde, eventually into wood alcohol. And it produces all sorts of problems, mental problems, and it impacts on literally every organ in the body. And they know this, and there are extensive animal studies that show this, and it never should have been put into our food.
June's prepared to be surprised, but not for what's about to come.
And so you're saying it's available in most prepared foods?
Well, in many prepared foods, especially baby food. They're poisoning our children. These are wicked and evil people. Of course, every day we drink water, and they fluoridate the water in about 68% of our cities. And 90% of them use something called hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is a product. They get it out of the chimneys of plants that produce fertilizer. Hydrofluorosilicic acid is so toxic you can't put it into a toxic dump without paying a great deal of money. They will not allow you to put it into a river because it contaminates the river. So they put it into our drinking water to poison our people. Well, and they know what they're doing because fluoride limits fertility, just as aspartame limits fertility. As I'm talking to you, you look a little amazed. Could this really be going on? Yes, they're poisoning our people.
So, Dr. Monteith, you think all of this is part of population control?
Yes, this is not an imaginary battle. It is very real.
Is this just in the United States or is it in the world?
Oh, it's throughout the world. You don't get the truth off of the media in the United States today because they're all controlled by the Bilderbergers and this network of very wealthy people who have a different agenda for the world, and they believe in population control.
You mentioned the Bilderbergs.
Yes. And then there are a myriad of other organizations which most people have never heard of that all have this same basic globalist view because this has to do with globalism.
So how many people do you think they want to take off the planet? What is the ideal figure they're trying
Well,
to get?
they talk about 500 million that they're going to allow to remain alive. Now, where does that figure come from?
Yes.
Well, you can go to Elberton, Georgia, and there's a great monument there. It's called the American Stonehenge of the Georgia Guidestones.
The American Stonehenge. A mysterious man who called himself R.C. Christian commissioned a local company to build it. Then he disappeared, leaving behind 6 granite slabs and a message repeated in 8 languages. It says in part, "Let all nations resolve disputes in a world court, unite humanity with a new language, and maintain humanity under 500 million. Under 500 million. Some may dispute the figure, but the chilling message is literally written in stone.
That monument says 500 million.
That's where it says 500 million. There are 8 different languages where they've written this because it's really for humanity. But there are many other figures that mention getting the population down to an even lower figure.